All right, it's time for some Big Sis coaching. Come sit down next to me right here. We're going to drink our coffee and get comfortable. Okay, you're going to have to listen to me. I know you're going to say, I don't want to hear what you got to say. You're wrong, etc. But trust me, trust me, trust me. I'm doing what's best for you. Your cheater has probably told you that if you would have had more sex with them or had different sex with them or had, I don't know, whatever kind of sex with them, they probably put that on you, and then they probably said, I wouldn't have cheated, this is your fault. So we, in this series, we cover that all the time about it's not your fault. And it took me a long time to realize that it wasn't my fault and there wasn't anything I could have done about it. But the bottom line with this is that there is no amount of sex you can have with someone to keep them from cheating. If they're going to cheat, they're going to cheat. It just is what it is. It's a deeper concern than that you are, servicing them or putting out or whatever the verbiage they want to use is. They just want to make it their fault because they're selfish, and they could very much be in a sex addiction. They probably are in a sex addiction. They won't admit it. They probably are not sure that they're going to accept that that's what's going on, but it does happen a lot. So a person who's going to cheat is going to do that no matter what's going on at home. This is just the way it is. We have to, as the betrayed partner and betrayed spouse and the person who has been deeply victimized by this person, we have to release blame that it's our fault, okay? Because it's not our fault that they do that. And we talk about that constantly, but we are not here put on this earth to be sex playthings for other people. It's not appropriate. It's not the role that we're supposed to have. We're human people. We get to have sex when we want to have sex. We don't owe anybody sex. That is a big, big concern, because a lot of people have in their mindset, whether it's from the way they saw their parents or they grew up a certain way or their biblical or religious beliefs have shown them that they have to be submissive to their partners whenever they want. That is simply not true. We are not put on this planet, on this earth, to be playthings for somebody else. It is not our job. We are grown-ups. We get to have sex when we want to, when we're excited to do that, and not because somebody has asked us a billion times to do it and it's not a job to do. So we don't have to feel bad if we make decisions based on what is important to us. They had a different option. They could have done something different. So when they come back to you and say, if you would have done it, 3 times a week instead, I will keep reiterating this. It's not the same. It's not an effective excuse to say that you didn't do that, I'm going to go and blow up this entire family by having an affair with somebody else or following down the rabbit hole of pornography and chatting online and et cetera, whatever you're dealing with. We have got to continually tell ourselves that this isn't about us. This is about their problem and what they have chosen to do. We didn't make the problem. We didn't cause the problem. And it's not fair, because let's just say this. Let's just give you an example. If your partner came to you and said, wow, this is all your fault because I told you I needed sex 3 times a day and you wouldn't do it. Then that person should have said, well, our visions don't align. I want sex 3 times a day. That's excessive for most of us who have kids and lives and jobs and so on and so forth. They needed to be with somebody else, so they could have just left. They didn't need to blow up a world, betray a spouse, tear up an entire family, and cause this much damage to their beloved. Okay, so there was another way. If things weren't lining up for them and they just felt like they were in the wrong relationship, or they weren't, their needs weren't being met, they needed to get out of the relationship and figure it out. It's not your job. Remember, we are not put on this earth to be sex playthings for people. We are valuable people. We are valuable women. We are much more than that. And when you're told constantly that it's your fault, that, you didn't do enough, you didn't do XYZ, it really, really drops self-esteem. So that was one of the things that was so hard for me, was that I was like, the way that I am, I didn't figure that anybody would want to be with me. And that's just crazy, because I'm like an awesome person and I bring a lot to the table, but that particular circumstance and the way I was talked to and told that it was my fault, and this wouldn't have happened if I would have XYZ, done this and done that, was just debilitating for me. I couldn't hardly stand up, because I just couldn't believe that what was expected of me, I couldn't reach that potential. There was no amount of sex that I could have had that would have made sense, but it was my fault. And I don't want you to feel like that, okay? Because it took me so long. It was really, really hard to come out from underneath of that. Fortunately, years later, I do understand that, because I started studying about, addiction and people's compulsions and chasing dopamine. And when you understand how people's brains work, and you start to see patterns in the cheater and how they constantly do the exact same thing, the cheaters all have the same playbook. So every one of the wives out there who's getting the same rigmarole from their cheater, this is your fault, you should have put out, you should have put some makeup on, you should have XYZ'd. It's their problem, right? So today, I want you to stand up, stand in your power, and know it's not your fault. And I want you to also know you are not a sexual plaything here. It was not your fault. There was no amount of sex that you could have given to make a person who was going to cheat not cheat. That is going to happen. They were going to cheat, and they've probably been doing it for a while, probably a long time. Mine had been a long time, and I just didn't realize, but it escalated. It's a slippery slope, and it escalated. And here we are. So keep that in the forefront of your mind, and know that you are valuable, and know that you are amazing, and that this didn't happen to you because